The Boston Celtics have the Philadelphia 76ers on the ropes, and after their 128-101 Game 2 beatdown, it's unclear whether the Sixers will regain consciousness in the next two games. The Sixers looked finished on Wednesday. When Joel Embiid exited the game for the final time in the fourth quarter, he sat and pulled his jersey over his face to wipe his eyes in obvious frustration. Whatever Philly tries, Boston has an answer, usually Jayson Tatum, and a second answer, often Jayson Tatum as well, but also often Jaylen Brown. Philly's haplessness so far in this series, well documented by local writers, who wrote things like, Game 2, was the story of a star whose organization has failed him, makes further adjustments from Boston feel a little unnecessary. Why fiddle with what is clearly working? The Celtics are up 2-0, and the Sixers don't have Wells Fargo Arena looming to boost them in Game 3. The answer, of course, is because you can't assume a team is beaten until they are, even if they look pretty beaten. Next game is a really important game. These guys have no quit in them, Kemba Walker said. They have one of the best players in the world and there's other great talent around him. So we have to be prepared, we have to stay locked in and be ready to go for Game 3. While Walker's assertion that the Sixers have no quit in them sounds a little funny in light of Game 2, his overall point is accurate. So what could the Celtics improve? Maybe the most obvious, they could try starting Enes Kanter, who continues to be a real wall against Joel Embiid's size and strength in the paint. Embiid started Game 2 perfect from the field, rolling directly through Daniel Theis to the rim and scoring in decisive ways. The Celtics have some other answers for Embiid. In Game 1, they beat him by doubling unpredictably, but the simplest answer is just to put Kanter in the game for one-on-one coverage and trust the Sixers won't pick and roll him to death. After all, they haven't so far. Obviously Embiid is a hell of a player, Kanter said. I have a lot of respect for him. I say this every time, this guy missed the first 3 or 4 seasons, and he came back and he's one of the best big men in the league now. I think guarding Embiid is not just me, it's everybody. The whole team is doing an amazing job, obviously trying to stop him, and I think we just need to do our jobs and try to be physical with him. Kanter hasn't had an easy year, his defensive issues are an odd fit on Boston's roster, full of versatile, switchable wings and forwards. He brings real value on the offensive glass and in the paint, and his connection with Marcus Smart has produced some good offense out of the second unit, but he lost his starting job early and wasn't always in the rotation. On Wednesday, however, he submitted one of his best two-way performances of the season. When Kanter entered the game, Embiid began bombing away from mid-range, burying a flurry of jumpers.